Hi everyone! Today I wanted to make a video about propagating succulents in different ways. So what's the best way to propagate, whether it's by leaf or by cutting or by offset. Part of the reason that I wanted to make this video today is because I have one plant in particular that is doing something pretty interesting. It is the Haworthia hybrid right here. It's a hybrid between a Haworthia retusa and a Haworthia truncata morgani. And you can look close, you can see this flower stem that it has, and close to the base of the flower stem there is a plant, an offset growing off of it. It's known as a bulbil, and I have not had one of these before on my Haworthia. They're pretty rare, and I'm very excited about it. And I'm really just excited about this plant in general because, as you can see, there are a bunch of different babies that have grown in the last couple months. This one at the front was growing underneath the soil, so that's why it looks super awkward, because I didn't have any soil, but it still survived. And this one in here looks like it's growing on the end of a flower stalk. Maybe that had fallen off or stopped growing, but it's a little baby also. So this one has grown quite a few for me, but this bulbin is my favorite by far. I've heard that they are pretty difficult to root though, so I am going to leave it on the flower stalk, and after it's done flowering, cut it off right above the bulbin, and then just let it fall to the soil as it gets heavier, and maybe try to root on its own rather than removing it and trying to root it. So this particular Haworthia has made it really easy to propagate because it propagates in many different ways, but really offset is generally the best way. We might even get seeds from this one, but with Haworthia in general, taking the offsets are really the best way to go. I did want to talk about my other Haworthia that's about to flower. Ideally, I'll be able to mix and match the seeds between this one, a Haworthia berry, and the one I just showed you, but we'll see. What is really interesting about this particular one is that it does not grow offsets very easily, so it's different than many of the other Haworthia that I do have. So for this one, seeds are a great way to propagate it. Obviously, seeds would take a very long time though. But the other thing we could do is take one of the leaves, chop it off, and replant it once it's calloused over, and a new plant growth should grow from the cut on the leaf that we cut off, and also the plant itself. So in that case, leaf cutting, but also utilizing the seeds. Just to show you how well some Haworthia propagate by offset. This is my big mama here, and you can see how many babies she has. So that's pretty typical for a lot of different types of Haworthia. We can look at another one of my favorites over here, Haworthia mutica. You can see some of the little offsets that have just grown down at the bottom. I did want to move over here and show you some other of my plants, so we can look at some of the Haworthiopsis here. Really same thing here with the Haworthia. If you look, there's a lot of offsets that will grow naturally, so that's the best way to propagate them, just removing those offsets, taking them out of the soil, and then you should be able to pull apart their root systems pretty easily. I actually have a video on that. I can put it down in the comments. But yeah, you can see these ones all grew up on their own in not that long time. Ice plants, so they can also be propagated by offsets. You can see some growing at the bottom here. Cuttings are really the best way here, so pay attention to where the nodes are. So that would be like where those leaves connect down at the bottom. The roots will grow from the nodes, so you want to cut just underneath that. So this goes for different types of ice plants, baby sun rose also. And when you cut them off at those nodes, just wait for those to callus over, and then you can put them into soil and wait for the roots to grow. Let's move over to jade now. So this is a big bowl of all different types of jade. I have tried to get jade to propagate by leaf. I think I was maybe successful in getting roots on a couple of them, but it took a few months to do. So all of those were actually propagated through cuttings. Very easy to. cut them. Elephant bush also is very easy to propagate through cutting, so I would suggest cuttings on generally all jade plants. I did want to look at another one of my Crassula plants that also cutting is really the best way for those, but I did try this out. So now this is just to give you an idea for Crassula. This has been maybe 3 months and I am just starting to see roots on one of them. So it is possible, there it is, that's the one with some of the roots. It is possible to get leaf propagation, but it takes a really long time. So if you're patient, yeah, that'll work. If you're a little bit less patient and you want your plants as fast as possible, a cutting is definitely a better way to go with different types of Crassula. So that's what I would suggest for those. All right, so next to look at some aloe plants. So these are all aloe plants that have been grown from offsets. I do have a video where I show kind of the different types of propagation that you could do with aloe vera. So actually I think I have a few cuttings in here. Yeah, this one's a cutting as well. So you can do cuttings, but again, if you want it to grow the quickest, through offsets is the way to go. And various aloe plants do grow offsets fairly easily. So just waiting for that is a good strategy. Using the leaves, not as successful. I actually have one of my experiment bowls here. Actually, I haven't looked at this one. Yeah, nothing there. And probably nothing in this one as well. Yeah, nothing. So it is very difficult to propagate through aloe leaf. I've heard that some people have done it before. I have not had success with it. While we're here, I will mention, here's a, funny, right? Here's a jade leaf that was able to sprout some roots. This one, I think, is months old at this point too. Nothing else happening there. I think I have another jade leaf also sprouting roots months later. So again, possible, most successful, probably not. Instead, the ones that are most successful, run through some of those. Echeveria leaves, any Graptopetalum or Graptopetalum hybrids, those plants especially, Graptocetum and sedum leaves, those are always successful for me. So you can see, you know, this just represents some. I think that this one's an Echeveria also. This one is an Echeveria growing roots. Let's see what else we have. These are also mostly Echeveria in here. These ones are, and they're starting with those bright pink roots there. This is another Echeveria here, and you can see that there's a few little plants that are already growing. And these ones have only been growing for maybe about a month, so they do grow much quicker. So these, I think, are a mix of Echeveria and Pachyveria, so hybrids here. And as you can probably notice, the ones that are the most successful are the thickest leaves. I'll pull this one over here too. So again, sedum, Echeveria, Black Prince Echeveria, actually that one right there, and different Graptopetalum hybrids here. You can see this one. Looking for some light here too. And these bigger leaves, again, the chubbier leaves generally are the ones that do the best. You can have success with some thin leaves, Echeveria especially, but they do dry out pretty quickly. These are some more leaves that have produced baby plants. These are from a Graptocetum. So again, the Graptopetalum hybrids growing really well. And these 4 smaller pots are all from leaves from one plant, so they're all the same, and you can see that they really just about all of them have produced pups, and this one has a few more mixed in the middle, but you can see all around the outside still the Graptocetum ones there. So just to show you, that's another very successful plant to grow by leaf. And as I mentioned before, Echeveria with the thinner leaves do propagate well by leaf, but sometimes those leaves shrivel up much quicker. So you can see like in this entire bowl. The ones with the thinnest leaves have been shriveling up, but they successfully produce plants. So these two beautiful baby plants that they've produced, but the leaves are about to die, which is fine. I generally just leave them on there until they're ready to go on their own. You can see that both have, you know, significant plant growth and roots that will hopefully make their way into the soil. And moving over to Kalanchoe plants. Generally these cuttings are the best way to go, and they grow so fast that what you cut it off from will look good and the new cutting will get roots really fast. So this is a Flaming Katy, and I'm just taking some cuttings off this one to grow. They root really quickly. This one is a Kalanchoe Hotoni. It's Mother of Millions. So Mother of Millions and Mother of Thousands cuttings root very fast, but if you end up getting plants on the leaf margins, like this little one right here on the ground, with just one plant of these, you will get a very large number of these plantlets. So definitely the easiest way, especially here you can see a bunch on the Mother of Thousands. They will just ultimately fall off and create new plants, so you don't actually even have to propagate any of these on your own. They will propagate themselves. And the last group of plants I wanted to mention is Aeonium, which propagates easily with cuttings or with offsets, not by leaves, so do not try to propagate that way. And just to summarize, these are the easiest types of succulents to propagate by leaf, cutting, and offset. So in these cases, for Mosetum, Echeveria, Graptopetalum, and Pachyphytum, I would suggest using leaves, because then you can keep the original plant looking beautiful while also making new plants. So leaves being the easiest for these. For most of the different types of succulents, cuttings and offsets will work well, and for some of these you wouldn't even be able to propagate by leaf. A few of them it's possible, but it would just take a really long time. But Aeonium, for example, would not propagate by leaf. Aloe is very difficult. Crassula is very difficult. Kalanchoe, as I mentioned before, having the tiny plantlets, really just offsets, which are found on the plant leaves, the easiest for those. And then the other ones, very difficult to propagate by leaf. And then propagating by offset, those would be most of your Haworthia. Again, I gave you the example of the Haworthia bayeri, which is difficult to propagate by offset because it rarely forms them, and also most Haworthiopsis. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.
Subscribe to learn more with us.